Some people believe that there is nothing unexplored remaining on Earth. But the world doesn't cease to surprise us with its mysteries. Today, I'll tell you about the lost places of the planet and animals that live only there. The Melville Range, Australia. Located high on a giant cobblestone in Cape York, in the north of Queensland, in 2013, biologists discovered a tropical forest which can only be reached by helicopter. Amazing species of animal were found that live only here in the forest. For example, a gecko lizard with a leaf-like tail. Sima Humboldt, Venezuela. On a remote plateau in Venezuela are many funnels, but the largest of them is Sima Humboldt. It was discovered only in 1961. The nearly circular pit falls to a depth of almost 314 meters. It is so large that its own ecosystem with many scientifically unknown plants have formed on its bottom. Given the mythical and mysterious placement, this funnel, like a lost world, turned out to be on our planet. Spine of Scotia, South Oceania. At a depth of 2 kilometers 400 meters in South Oceania, there is a unique water site, which was found in 2012. This place is heated by hydrothermal springs. Its temperatures reach 382 degrees Celsius. Huge colonies of unknown species thrive in a warm, dark environment. Scientists have discovered a large number of albinos, such as this octopus, or this Yeti crab that uses hair on its claws to grow bacteria that detoxify the poisoned water. Mountains of Palawan, Philippines. In 2007, during an expedition on the isolated territory of the island of Palawan, mysterious plants were discovered. At the very tops of the mountains are the remains of another world. Scientists examined exotic species which are found nowhere else on Earth. For example, such a large carnivorous plant that feeds on rodents and even small monkeys. There are pink ferns and blue mushrooms which remain a mystery. Crater of Bosavi, New Guinea. It was recently discovered that a 1-kilometer crater is home for many animals that have become isolated from the outside world since its last eruption, which occurred 200,000 years ago. It was investigated in 2009 for the BBC film The Lost World of the Volcano. The group found more than 40 unknown species of animals. For example, this giant rat measuring 82 centimeters in length. The Cave of Moville, Romania. In 1986, during geological investigations, before the construction of the power plant, at a depth of 18 meters, a closed cave system with peculiar conditions was discovered. Fed by the subterranean waters called Moville, it had its own atmosphere. This cave contains a unique ecosystem that has existed and is developing, presumably, for the last 5 million years. Without a connection to the Earth's surface, 46 terrestrial and aquatic invertebrates were discovered. Among them are arthropods, leeches, and mollusks. The inhabitants of the cave are blind and oriented to touch and smell, as well as catching the slightest vibrations of the stone, air, or water. Mount Roraima, South America. Mount Roraima, the most famous and concurrently highest Venezuelan mountain. It reaches a height of 2,810 meters. Researchers managed to find an unusual animal here, which was named Cabrosaurus. It looks like a huge snake with a horse's head and humps on its back. The length of its body is about 15 meters. Ants, Gullivers longer than 5 centimeters in length were found. Their steel jaws snack on branches. But the biggest discovery was the remains of ancient animals that lived here quite recently. What they died from is not clear. Perhaps they were experimented on by aliens. This conjecture is not without reason, since not far from the waterfall, the expedition found a large round platform without vegetation and sprinkled with some silvery powder. Laboratory research later found that it is an alloy of rare metals that does not really get out of the earth. The Challenger's Abyss. The deepest point of the Mariana Trench with the most amazing ecosystem on Earth. Its depth is 10,971 meters. In comparison, the height of the highest point of the world, Mount Everest, 8,848 meters. However, at a depth of 1,600 meters from the surface of the Pacific Ocean, there are hydrothermal springs that heat the water to 450 degrees Celsius. But it does not boil here due to an incredible pressure, 155 times higher than on the surface. At the bottom of the Mariana Trench, giant 10-centimeter amoeba were found. In comparison, the length of an ordinary amoeba is half a millimeter. The temperature, high pressure, and lack of sunlight likely contributed to the fact that these amoebas have acquired non-standard sizes. Cave Hang Sang Dung. Hang Sang Dung is a huge cave that is the largest in the world. In 1991, a local resident named Ho Hang discovered this cave. People who lived in these places were afraid to be near the cave, and all because of the whistling sound of a river flowing down the cave. In the underground hall of the cave, there is enough room for a 40-story skyscraper. Many years ago, in the roof of the cave, holes were formed, through which light penetrated into the underground halls. Along with them came the plants. Now you can see a real jungle. There is so much space here that its own ecosystem has been formed. Inside there is a forest, a big river, and many, many amazing things. Lake Vostok. Lake Vostok is one of the largest lakes on the Earth. For 15 million years, it was separated from the whole world by a glacier of 4 kilometers. Under this layer of ice is material that is invaluable to science. Samples taken from the surface showed that underneath there are a lot of living organisms whose DNA does not belong to any known species. Such lost worlds are on our planet. It would seem that everything has already been investigated, but no, there are still many places on Earth where there was no man.